most of the afternoon here in Minneapolis, but the skies have cleared, the grass is green, the sky is blue. Twins fans are hoping it's time for the Twins to win a ball game. Game 2 with the Twins and the Angels coming up momentarily. Dick Bremer along with Bert Blyleven as the Twins hope to even this series at a game apiece. A convergence of factors in Scott Diamond's favor. He was pitching very well in AAA, and there was a crying need for good starting pitching up here.
Yeah, Liam Hendriks just had a tough time up here, so he was sent down. That opened the door for a starter to come up, and that was Scott Diamond. Scott Diamond made 7 starts last year for the Twins, 1-5 high ERA, but I really believe, Dick, that those 7 starts are going to help him here tonight against the Angels. Outstanding in Rochester. What he needs to do is attack the strike zone.
We saw a little bit of him last year. Nobody knows him better than Twins pitching coach Rick Anderson.
Scotty's got a 4-pitch mix, and he uses them all, and fastball, curveball, and changeup. And, if he uses them all and changes speeds and keeps them all balanced, that's what he does well. We saw him a little bit last year in September, and he did a nice job for us. Got his feet wet and got an idea, and he went down and earned the job out of Rochester. So we're excited to have him.
Well, Scott Diamond won his only game last year in Chicago. He'd like to win his first major league game here at Target Field tonight.
Well, the Angels have very good starting pitching. Their problem, believe it or not, has been scoring runs. But that's not been the case the last 4 games against the Twins.
Yeah, really a lot of offense for the Angels against the Twins. They have outscored the Twins 25-6. It's a starting pitching for the Minnesota Twins. Scott Diamond needs to go out, put some zeros on, hopefully win a close ball game. But this Angel Ball Club, they're starting to swing the bat.
It's a big day, The Twins are hoping to win a ball game today, but it's also Twitter Tuesday. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. But let's
Tuesday.
win.
And when we come back, Brian Dozier will help us out on Twitter Tuesday. Sports North is brought to you by your local Northland Ford dealers. Visit your local Northland Ford dealer or go to northlandford.com. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
Twins trying to even the series at a game apiece here in downtown Minneapolis at Target Field. They take on the Los Angeles Angels on Fox Sports North. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Robbie Smikowski. It's Tuesday, and the Twins are at home, which means it's Twitter Tuesday, and we have questions that we are taking from Twins fans via Twitter using the hashtag #AskATwin. And one question tonight for our guest was Brian Dozier, made his major league debut last night. Comes from Nicole Margaret at NMarg34. How cool was it to be greeted by Albert Pujols after your first major league hit?
After I got the hit, he came over and gave me a little tap on the head and a little daps, and he said, "Congratulations! I look good up there." And it's the first of many, kids. So to have that, said by him, a future Hall of Famer in my book, so it's pretty amazing.
And Brian Dozier does have the baseball that he used for his first major league hit. When we come back, we're going to see Scott Diamond's first start for the Twins this season here on Fox Sports North. He'll oppose Dan Herron, and first pitch is coming up next.
Scott Diamond takes the mound for the Twins, hoping to, in his first major league start in 2012, get the Twins in the left-hand column. A team that's desperately in need of a win. They've lost 3 in a row, and that's what has marked the first weeks of this season. Short losing streaks, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 3 games.
Dick, I think the biggest thing is just a good quality start. Give the team a chance late in the ball game to score a couple runs and hopefully win.
The Twins haven't had the reliable starting pitching to allow them to have corresponding winning streaks. Here's the Menards batting order for the Angels. Mike Trout, their leadoff man. Alberto Callasmo, Albert Pujols, Torrey Hunter, Mark Trumbo, Howie Kendrick, Vernon Wells, Eric Ibar, and Chris Iannetta.
And that lineup facing Scott Diamond's a left-handed pitcher, 25 years old, from Ontario, Canada. Originally signed by the Atlanta Braves, a Rule 5 pickup by the Twins last year in December of 2010. They wanted to send him out, Dick, and then the Twins wanted to keep him. He had really no spot for him, and they ended up making a trade between the Twins and the Atlanta Braves.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins, and a bit of a different look with Denard Span out of the lineup. It's Komatsu in center, Kloof and Willingham in the corner outfield spots. Valencia, Dozier, Carroll, and Maurer around the infield. Butera doing the catching. Diamond when he was called up last year, really didn't pitch well enough to deserve getting called up. But the Twins had some injury issues, the whole situation surrounding Kevin Slowey. And so Diamond got called up even though he wasn't pitching that well in AAA. This year, it's a different story. He had really good numbers at AAA and warrants at least a look up here.
Yeah, Diamond 4 wins, 1 loss down in AAA. A very good 2.6 ERA.
1-0 to Mike Trout. And a strike.
And that's the key right there. One of the keys. Get ahead with that fastball and then mix in the other 3 pitches that Rick Anderson talked about. The big slow curveball, the slider, and the changeup.
Flip foul.
Let's take a look at the GMC keys to the game for Scott Diamond. Establish that fastball by getting ahead in the count. Then establish your off-speed pitches. The big slow curveball. Diamond, the guy that comes straight over the top, so it's almost a 12-6 curveball if he stays on top of it. A little cutter inside.
Trout very fast with 2 strikes. Valencia can play back on the dirt, but we saw in Anaheim last week, if he drops down a bunt anywhere close to being a good bunt, he's going to get a base hit. Foul tip, and Butera takes it off the mask. Butera doing the catching. Ryan Domit in the game as the designated hitter. And Joe Mauer at first base. Mauer had caught the last 2 ball games.
Yeah, all 3 catchers in the ball game. Butera caught Diamond down in Rochester, so there's a little bit of history there.
And another foul tip. 6 pitches, 5 strikes so far for Diamond. He missed with his first offering and has thrown 5 straight strikes to the batter.
Yeah, Diamond won his first major league game last August 31st in Chicago. He beat Jake Peavy and the White Sox 7-6.
Breaking pitch down and in, and it's 2-2.
Mike Trout, only 20 years old. He got called up from AAA when the Angels let Bobby Abreu go
to right center field, and the ball drops. And Trout thinks about going to second. Neither Plouffe nor Komatsu got there. And it's a leadoff single, a little flare into right center.
Yeah, that ball probably right off the end of the bat had that little bit of tail on it, like it sliced toward right field. Not a bad pitch. Look at the pitch down. But Trout goes down and hits a little flare into right center that lands in front of Plouffe. Didn't look like he got the best of break on that ball to try to catch it.
So Trout and his speed at first. Here's Alberto Callaspo. We've talked at length already this year about how the Twins have stopwatches in the dugout in the base coach's hands, and I'm sure first time the Angels have seen Scott Diamond, they're running the stopwatch on him. That time he picked his leg up and was rather deliberate to the plate. Down and in, 1-1.
Yeah, a little quicker right there, home. I think John Danks of the Chicago White Sox has the quickest move as a left-hander throwing home. He barely picks up that leg. Hard to steal against. Angels have 14 stolen bases. Trout has 1 of those 14 in 1 attempt. Four stolen bases last year for Trout in 4 attempts, so he's yet to be thrown out in a stolen base attempt at the major league level.
Up the middle. Carroll starts a double play. Perfectly placed. A 3-hopper. Carroll fielded it, stepped on the bag, pushed off and through.
Yeah, tailor-made double play. Dozier doesn't even have to be in this play right here because Jamie Carroll, an established infielder, no matter where he plays the hop, steps on the bag, quick throw over to Mauer for the double play.
Base is empty for Pujols, and 2 are gone. Inside ball 1. Pujols drove in a couple of runs yesterday, one with a ground out, the other with a base hit, solidly hit to left field. Snap bat. Carroll fields it, has time to throw, and Diamond has a good inning. Nothing hit hard in the inning, and he faces only 3 men. Score first, the Menards batting order for the Twins with Bernard Span out of the lineup. Eric Komatsu taking over the leadoff spot and in center field. Then Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Josh Willingham, Ryan Doumit, Danny Valencia, Trevor Plouffe, Drew Butera, and Jamie Carroll.
And for the second time this season, the Twins will be facing Dan Haren, making his 7th start. He's been pitching very good as of late. His first 2 starts, his second start of the year came against the Twins. And the Twins roughed him up a little bit, but since then, the last 4 starts, he has been outstanding. Dan Haren on his 4 pitches, his strikeout pitch, a nasty split finger.
And Eric Komatsu got a couple of hits in the ballgame last night. Will lead things off. Pitches up high.
I think you mentioned it in the conference call this morning. The biggest thing about Dan Haren, make sure that his right foot is stays on that pitching rubber.
Very high again. When he pitched here in early April, the Twins dugout complained to the home plate umpire, and they went in and told Haren to make sure that some part of his foot was in contact with the rubber. A strike, 2-1. It wasn't really gamesmanship because they brought this to the umpire's attention between innings. It wasn't while Haren was out there.
Right.
2-1. Foul back. Haren left one up. Komatsu tried to turn it around.
Well, you know, for the instructional last night, we showed Jarrett Weaver where he left his stride, basically threw across his body. Dan Haren almost the opposite. He really opens up with his lower torso. And especially working off that side of the rubber, the first base side, he just flies open.
Little fly ball. Pujols to his right makes the catch, 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the Angels. Peter Borges out of center field, but maybe a faster man, and Mike Trout is out there. Hunter and Wells on either side. Callaspo, Ibar, Kendrick, Pujols, and Chris Iannetta back behind the plate. 1 down, and Brian Dozier to the plate. Dozier 1 hit, 4 at bats last night. Played well in the field. This one down the right field line. Hunter charging, and he won't get there. And Dozier has his 2nd hit. Drops a single in front of Torrey Hunter.
Got a little off the end of the bat right there. And Dan Haren, a pitcher that will challenge you with that fastball. So you want to be ready to hit early. Dozier, who has never faced Dan Haren, jumps on that first pitch. You can see right off the end of the bat. And that ball lands into right field in front of Hunter.
When the Twins faced Haren in early April. They had chances to score runs. They got 9 hits, ended up scoring 3 runs in 5 innings. The only time they did score was when Joe Mauer took a breaking pitch and pulled it over the right field fence for a 3-run homer. Mauer's only home run of the season. One strike. That's wide of the bag. 2 strikes.
And Mauer in his career 9 hits and 24 at-bats against Dan Haren. A .375 batting average with that home run.
Joe pulling a base hit into right field last night.
Picked up his 14th RBI as Dozier scored.
2 strikes. Mauer taps it up the line again. Pretty good numbers. Obviously, the home run coming here at Target Field in April. Twins trying to score first for what seems to be the first time at home this year. Got a pitch up and fouled it straight back.
Dan Haren making his 10th career start against the Twins. 4-3 with an ERA about 3.5 against the Twins. And 3 of the 4 wins have come here in Minnesota in 8 starts. Haren, 31 years old, originally signed by the Cardinals back in 2001, came up with the Cardinals a couple years later. Also spent time with the Oakland A's and the Diamondbacks.
This is up the line. Pujols finally gets a chance to make a play. He'll tag Mauer, and Dozier will go to second. And that'll bring up Willingham.
Willingham missing a ball game yesterday. A little under the weather. Leading the club with 5 home runs and 15 runs driven in. Actually, he's tied with Ryan Domet, who's on deck with 15 runs batted in.
And Willingham had been slumping, had a difficult road trip. Been the team leader in runs batted in, or was through the first 4 weeks of the season. And he can reclaim that leadership with an RBI hit here. Strike 1. And Haren calling Iannetta out. As soon as he delivered the pitch, he shook his head from side to side, something he's not too happy about.
Well, runner at second base. Maybe the signs that they're using right there.
Maybe he saw something I couldn't see from back here. Maybe he crossed his catcher up and they decided to get things squared away. One strike to Josh Willingham. That's to the right field corner. And off the wall, Willingham will score. Hunter throwing to second. It's a double. And the Twins take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Willingham now leading the Twins with 16 runs batted in, with his 8th double of the year, driving in Dozier. So good 2-out hitting right here by Willingham, taking that pitch the other way. And that ball hit over the head of Torrey Hunter. Willingham's took a little hesitation around first base. Good strong throw by Hunter, but just able to get that foot on the bag before the tag was applied.
Now the designated hitter, Ryan Domet. Outside, ball 1. This is just the 3rd time this year that the Twins have scored first at home.
That's a good sign.
Well, you got an inexperienced pitcher out there on the mound. Twins are looking for Scott Diamond to look composed and comfortable out there. It's, boy, to me, it'd make it a whole lot easier if you're leading 1-0 than behind 1-0.
Well, he'd rather be leading 3-0 right here.
All right, well, is that a call?
Maybe Domit might do what he did a couple days ago in Seattle. Hit 2 home runs in a ball game.
2-1 to Domit. Twins won the game that Heron started. We talked about the Mauer home run also in that game. Willingham and Morneau homered, but not against Heron. High drive to right field. Just like that. It's 3-0.
And Scott Diamond says thank you very much. So Ryan Domit hitting his 4th home run of the year. Looks like he got a pitch up. And a nice strong swing. Hitting it into that right field area for a big 2-run home run.
And a pair of 2-out extra base hits, something that has been very short supply for the Twins. And they take a 3-0 lead.
Now take a look at the pitch right there. It's a fastball up. And you're just wondering if it had enough with that high fastball, if Domit could hit it out of the ballpark, and he was able to.
Valencia takes a strike on the outside corner.
Heron giving up his 6th home run of the year. This is his 7th start.
All 4 of Domit's home runs from the left side of the plate. 1-1. Missing the outside corner again. 2-1. Swings through it to even the count.
Yeah, Danny 5 for 12 lifetime against Dan Heron. The average only at 207.
Missing wide again. They're working Valencia from the middle of the plate away. See what he gets now on 3-2. Roll to third. Callaspo gobbles it up and throws to Pujols to end the inning. Dozier's single, Willingham's 2-out double, and Domit's home run, and it's 3-0 Twins.
Scott Diamond in his latest call up here to the Twins. In his last minor league start, he was in the 3rd inning when he noticed a Rochester reliever warming up in the bullpen. Naturally, he wondered why, and then got into a little bit of a jam in that 3rd inning. Had pitching coach Bobby Cuellar telling him to get out of it. He was, of course, a little mad. Got into the dugout after the inning when he got out of the jam, put down his glove and hat, wanted an explanation from manager Gene Glenn, who was standing there waiting for Scott Diamond, Dickenberg, with his hand extended, saying, "Congratulations, kid. You're going to the Minnesota Twins." Needless to say, he was not mad after that.
But he did work out of the jam. Good for him.
2-0. And then Gene Glenn paused and said, "Oh, and Dozier, you're going with him." And Dozier's response was he's looking around making sure nobody else was named Dozier. 2-0 to Torrey Hunter. And there's a strike. In the 1st inning, Diamond broke at least one bat. Gave up a flared single to right off the bat of Trout. Faced just 3 men. And now has that 3-0 lead.
You know, Dick, as a former pitcher, there are certain innings that are very important. Of course, all 9 of them are. But for a pitcher, when your team scores 3 runs for you, boy, your goal is to go out there and put a 0 up as quick as possible. Get them back in the dugout. You do not want the opponent to pick up a run or 2 right here.
3-2 with Trumbo on deck.
I don't care if it's in the 1st inning or the 8th inning. Put a 0 on the board. Get them back in.
He strikes out Hunter. And frankly, Bert, that's been one real big shortcoming for this Twins starting staff. When the Twins have scored early runs, they've given them back in the next half inning.
Exactly right. So, you know what, Ron Coomer, you're down there in the camera well. Scott Diamond's made some adjustments down in AAA.
Well, that's what we've heard, Bert, and you know, you never know how those adjustments are going to be once you get to the big leagues. You all know that, but you know, to me, 2 things really stick out. One, he's patting himself after Carl Pavano, which to me is a very smart thing for a young pitcher to watch how a veteran pitcher and a very good one goes about his business. And 2, the other thing, in talking to Gene Glenn, the AAA manager yesterday, he talked about Scott being able to add and subtract to his off-speed pitches and his breaking ball, which we saw right there. A good, hard, sharp slider going down, and then we've seen the one that he kind of throws over that's a lot slower. You see this slider right here. That's a good, sharp slider from the side here, going straight down. He had great arm angle. So to me, that's the one interesting thing, is how he does right there with that breaking pitch.
Pretty good chance Trumbo will see that slider again in the later innings, because he just swung and missed at 3 of them.
You know what I like to see about that right there? We just showed you the 2nd strike. He didn't try to make the 3rd strike that much better. He threw the same one because it's the same result as strike 2. Sometimes you see young pitchers throw a good breaking ball, and the next one they think they have to even throw a better one, and it ends up being in the dirt. Great pitch sequence right there by Diamond, staying under control and picking up his 2nd straight strikeout.
Kendrick takes a fastball for a ball 1.
Bert, I got a quick question. To me, I'm watching Scott Diamond. He has such great arm angle with his release point being so high right there. That's got to be good for a guy throwing a slider. I mean, for a hitter, it was tough. When a guy threw like that last slider he threw for the strikeout, that ball's going straight down, and it's tough to pick up the spin of the slider.
Yeah, when you're straight over the top just like that. There's a little flare foul, though. It's so much easier to throw a curveball from up there and a breaking ball and also a changeup when you're on top of that baseball. A lot of times you'll see guys that go sidearm or 3/4. It's hard to throw a curveball there. You're going to throw more of a slider. But Diamond is more over the top, so as he stays back, he can create that good downward plane and then put some rotation in it to make that breaking ball go down.
To center field, Komatsu trapped it. May have knuckled its way out there, but 2 balls hit out of the infield, and they both have dropped for hits.
Well, that breaking ball left up right there, and here's Howie Kendrick again, a .350 career hitter against the Twins. He did not take it, you know, he takes advantage of that breaking ball that left up right there. A line drive, and Komatsu had a tough time picking that ball up. We've seen a couple balls out in the outfield that probably should have been caught. But 2 base hits now for the Angels.
Vernon Wells, the hitter. Wells picking his batting average up, picking up some multi-hit games here over the last week. Roll to the left side, cut off by Dozier. He'll have no play. And a diving stop in the outfield grass. He went down to make the play on that right where the water was dumped off the tarp. So he'd probably had a wet baseball to pick up and throw anyway.
Oh, this is a base hit anyway, but a great effort right there. Had no chance, but did pop straight up. And you're right. I mean, with the tarp coming off right in that area right there, that's where all the water on Thursday, you're going to have to do a better job of getting some of that water off.
We've seen the last rain for about 4 days, thankfully.
No. I was hoping, I even tweeted that I wish today was Thursday. Because they put that tarp on a couple, 2-3 times today. I just wish you were part of it.
Here's Ibar taking down an in, and Diamond trying to protect that 3-0 lead suddenly has the tying run at the plate.
Well, stay within yourself right here and make a good pitch. Ibar has been struggling from the plate, a switch hitter, struggling from both sides of the plate as a right-handed hitter, hitting .226.
Fastball at the knees.
Good pitch down.
All right, 91 miles per hour. If you locate it, that's enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's, he says that, he likes the way that Carl Pavano goes about his business, and that's about as hard as Carl can throw. 91, 92, but you hit your spots with that. You don't have to throw 95, 96 at the major league level if you can hit your spots.
Soft liner to Valencia. That ends the inning, and the Angels get a couple of hits and leave 2 men aboard. Throughout the afternoon, grounds crew did a great job as usual, getting the tarp on the field, keeping the field playable.
And they will Thursday too.
Trevor Plouffe. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to be part of the grounds crew on Thursday. I'm not announcing the game. Anthony LaPanta is going to be sitting up here doing the play-by-play while I go down and be a member of the grounds crew for today.
Now, you've got a couple more days to think about. You were down there today, I know, when they were putting a tarp on. Did you ask what your role's going to be?
Well, I asked when the coffee breaks were. They're bringing me in here at 9 in the morning.
Wow.
And, a lot of different things. Larry DeVito right there. He's having a little Mountain Dew break right there. Plouffe takes one in the dirt. I understand they're going to put a microphone on.
Yes, and we're going to follow you. We're going to start you at the pregame show starting at 6:30 on Thursday.
Well, now, if I'm going to be here at 9, I thought they'd break into programming and just televise the whole day.
Well, they might. They might.
Preempt the regular programming to watch the grounds crew take lunch.
I got a feeling right around 2 or 3 o'clock you'll be napping somewhere.
A little bouncer to second. Easy play for Kendrick, one away. Well, I mentioned once a long time ago that I thought being a member of the grounds crew when I was a kid was cool, but I also wanted to be a cowboy. So I don't know what's going to be happening next month.
We were cowboys one time in Texas.
I bought a cowboy hat.
Had the hat. I brought the gun for you, the little plastic gun.
The play gun.
The play gun, yeah, a little plastic play gun.
Here's Drew Butera.
The only thing was missing was the horse.
1-0.
Well, Drew getting a chance to play, just a couple at bats so far this year.
That's hit to center. And that'll carry to Trout right on the button for out number 2. 2 down, and that'll bring up Jamie Carroll. You can enjoy the best that Target Field has to offer with your group of 25 or more. No deposits required for a 2012 group outing. Simply reserve your best guess number of seats today and pay only for the number of tickets you actually need. You'll be seated together and your group's name will appear on the Target Field scoreboard. It's time to organize your church, business, school, or sports team, so call 800-33-TWINS and ask about a Twins group outing. 2 gone in the second. Number 9 batter Jamie Carroll takes a strike. Carroll played the first 4 weeks as a shortstop only, and now back-to-back games at second base.
I think in the pregame yesterday they showed Jamie Carroll how many different positions he's played between short, second, and third, and a lot of them at the end of the ground ball. Going to go down that left field line for sure, a double as a fan reaches over and interferes with the ball, but it would have been a double the whole way.
So Carroll gets a 2-out double, and that'll bring Komatsu.
Yeah, 5th double of the year. Comes in with 2 outs here in the second inning. Pulling that ball past Kai Aspo, who's playing third base. And Vernon Wells hustling to get the ball, but the fan reaching over and interfering with that ball. So Rob Drake, the umpire, put his hands together. Means a dead ball. But it's a double for Jamie Carroll.
Here's Komatsu. Big swing and a foul, 1 strike. Komatsu with a pop-up pump back liner to Pujols to start the ball game. And Komatsu, a Rule 5 pickup. And when we have a moment here, we'll try to go through what the Rule 5 process is. We've kind of explained what the obligation is for the team, but we haven't really described who's eligible. And we'll do that right now. To be eligible for the Rule 5 draft, you are not on the 40-man roster, and you've been in an organization for 4 years if signed at age 19 or older, and 5 years if signed at 18 or younger. The part we've explained is the player, in this case Komatsu, has to stay on the 25-man roster for the Twins. That's how the Twins got him. The Cardinals drafted him in the Rule 5 draft, tried to send him down, and the Twins picked him up on waivers. He was a player that the Twins considered this offseason to draft in the Rule 5 draft. The Cardinals got to him first.
Yeah, Komatsu's already been with 4 different organizations. Originally signed by the Brewers, then spent time traded over to the Nationals, and then the Rule 5 player with the Cardinals, and now the Twins.
In Diamond's case, last year, the Twins worked out the deal with the Braves to keep him, and then the obligation expired to keep him on the 25-man roster.
Yeah, Twins traded a right-handed pitcher, Billy Bollock, and he's currently in Double-A for the Atlanta Braves.
1-2 to Komatsu. Twins got their 3 runs in the first with some extra base hits with 2 out. Here, a single by Komatsu with 2 out will likely score Carroll. The dirt smothered by Iannetta. Twins have picked up hits again here tonight against Herron. They got 9 hits against him in 5 innings here in April. And now first time through the batting order, 4 hits, and significantly 3 of them extra base hits. Inside, turned him away, nearly hit him, full count.
Yeah, and that outing here in Minnesota Target Field, the Twins ended up winning that ball game 10-9. Herron struck out 7 in the 5 innings he worked.
No strikeouts yet. First time through the batting order. Full count to Komatsu. That's hit to right center field. Hunter chasing it and getting there. So Komatsu made a bid for a hit. Hunter denied him, and the Twins still lead 3-0.
Delivery compared to Francisco Liriano's delivery, and what a difference. Now Liriano, of course, watch Liriano go through his windup, watch where he lands with his heel and then almost recoils. And for Scott Diamond, how he gets to that balance point and then releases the ball, and look where he ends up. He's probably 2-3 feet closer to the catcher's glove because he follows through and lets his arm work and goes through the ball.
And ends up on his front leg instead of twisted off to the side.
Right.
1-1 to Chris Iannetta.
Well, what amazed me last night in the instructionals when we showed where Jarrett Weaver landed, but he was still able to get over and follow through and almost go toward first base. Weaver winning his 5th game last night.
1-2. Diamond to Iannetta.
Pitching should be simplified on a couple things. Staying back, finding that balance point over the pitching rubber, utilizing the pitching rubber to drive with your drive foot, and then stay balanced and hit your spots like that. 3rd strikeout in the ball game for Scott Diamond, the first called 3rd strike.
You can let us know who you think will be the Arby's Value Player of the game. Text the word value followed by a space in the player's name to short code 234-234. Some offense to split the voting. Scott Diamond with 11% of the vote. If he continues to pitch shutout ball, I'm guessing his vote total is going to increase. Ball 1 to Mike Trout. Trout singled, had a little flare into right center field to start the ball game, but then Diamond got Callaspo to bounce into a double play. We've talked about this before here at Target Field back on, I think it's over here on the 3rd floor. There's a great picture of you, and it's a It's a still photograph of your follow through, and all the things that you talk about are evident in that picture. Working out front, the follow through, snapping of the wrist, you're out over your front leg as you're following through. And we need to get that picture up here someplace.
Well, you know what the biggest thing too is, see the number 58 on the back of Scott Diamond. If you're a hitter, you will see that number because of the way that he bends his back and goes toward the hitter right there. You're not going to see it for a split second, but he's going to bend over and get over that planting leg so he can utilize that arm strength to go down in the strike zone.
3-1 to Trout. And a bouncer foul, 3-2.
Very smooth delivery. Very impressed. Ron Coomer touched on that. And, you know, I think the 7 starts he had last year. Now, he came up and was part of a doubleheader in Cleveland in his major league debut back in July. But when he got called up, you mentioned, Dick, you know, he didn't have the best of year last year. But what an experience for this young left-hander to now come back up and hopefully take what he learned last year, hopefully into a successful 2012 season.
That 1-out walk notwithstanding, what he did in Rochester and what he's done so far here tonight show great command is what Liam Hendriks showed in spring training. It's just when the regular season started, Hendriks lost his command. Callaspo, the batter, he hit a ground ball near second base. Carroll gloved it, stepped on the bag, and threw to first for a double play. Long hold by Diamond, picks up the leg and delivers ball 1.
You know, and speaking of Liam Hendriks, I think, Dick, you know, there are times when a young kid like Liam has to go back down and hopefully regroup so he can come back up. He's learned what he needs to do to stay up here. He was unsuccessful in doing it. Now he has to go back and find it all over again. Rick Anderson, a great teacher, but you know what? There's certain things that it's out of his control. Once you get on that mound, it's up to you how you succeed or fail.
2-0. Butera lost the handle of the ball. Trout scampered to second, but before all that happened, as Diamond was delivering home, Trout was retreating to first base. So Trout at least hasn't gotten a real good read on Diamond's move yet.
Yeah, this should almost be a pass ball right here because Butera caught. It is a pass ball. Looked like he had it in his glove, and the ball just got away.
So 2-0 to Callaspo, who's batting after Trout, who's already walked. A little roller to short. Carroll can make the play, or excuse me, Dozier can make the play, force a Abbott, 2 down. And on the play, Trout moves to third with Albert Pujols coming to the plate. Ron Coomer, your thoughts about Albert Pujols' struggles?
Well, it's been pretty amazing, the struggles that this guy has had. And I think a lot of it, you know, you look at that pitch right there, Dick, and you see his swing and how jammed up he gets and a little bit of movement that he's having going forward. You know, I've never seen him struggle and not square the ball up. And even talking to their broadcasters, Mark Gubicza, how well he swung the bat in spring training. But the one thing that is really standing out now, that the struggles have gone on for over a month, is his pitch selection. I've never seen Albert go out of the zone as much as he's doing. We've seen it yesterday a little bit. We've seen it in Anaheim, and now we're seeing it here in the first at bat. You know, to me, if you get ahead of him, he's a guy that's going to go out of the zone, and I think it's just, you know, that anxiety of wanting to do so well. I think he's actually human, guys.
6 walks on the year. That's it, and 2 of those were intentional.
And that was the first week, had to be, right?
1-1. And up around the hands, 2-1.
This guy is so strong. I had a chance to shake hands with him. I'll tell you what, you better get in there hard because he'll break your fingers.
Typically walks about 100 times a year, although last year he walked just 61 times and just under 600 at bats. 2-1. 3-1, and if Pujols reaches, Torrey Hunter would hit next.
Guys, I'm watching him, his setup in the batter's box from the first base camera well, and the one thing that I see that's really different is he's not getting loaded like he once was. And when you don't get loaded as a hitter and his weight is dead in the middle, when you don't get loaded, it's real easy to jump forward. You get a little head movement forward. It's really tough to swing the bat the way you want to.
Nice pickup by Valencia. On target to Mauer. Diamond issues a 1-out walk. Leaves the runner at third. 3 shutout innings and a 3-0 Twins lead. Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. By CenturyLink, a different kind of communications company. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Grand Casino, the best stories start here. Brian Dozier to lead off the bottom of the third inning. I'm calling a bunt single. So much for that. Ground ball to second on the first pitch. Dozier tossed out. He's 1 for 2.
Yeah, 2 pitches that he's seen from Heron. 1 for a base hit, and then jumping on that first pitch again and hitting the ground ball out. Just to backtrack on Liam Hendriks. Tonight in Rochester, 5 2/3 innings, only 3 hits allowed, 1 run, couple walks, 8 strikeouts. AAA high for the Rochester.
And that's exactly what he did in spring training. Yep. Numbers like that. That's why he won a job out of the spring training camp. Here's Joe Mauer. Breaking ball covers the outside corner.
You know, Dick, the game of baseball can be so negative. You know, the Twins are off to a slow start, 7-21 on the year, but you have to find the rainbow. You know, I mean, it rained earlier. You're looking for the rainbow. You're looking for something good to happen, and you hope it starts tonight. That's all you can in the game of baseball. You forget about what happened yesterday and you move forward. It's hard for some fans sometimes to understand that this is not, you know, the ball club that Ron Gardenhire expected out of spring training. They expected the starting staff to be a lot better. You know, Baker's gone. Blackburn struggled. Liriano has struggled. There are the numbers of Liam Hendriks down in Rochester for the Red Wings.
And if we had seen that second line there, 99 pitches, 62 strikes, if we'd have seen that up here, he'd probably still be here.
And he knew that. You know, he blamed himself.
Slice to the left field corner, and a long run for Vernon Wells. He's not going to get there. And Mauer is going to get 2. Wells kicks it around in the corner a little bit. Just a fly ball down the left field line, but Wells playing over in the gap a little bit, and he didn't get there in time.
Well, it's nice to see in this ball game so far, 5 hits for the Twins, 3 doubles and a home run. Some extra base hits. Joe Mauer slicing that ball away from Vernon Wells. It got away from him a little bit right there, but he's able to get it back in. And for Mauer, his 5th double of the year.
Carroll pulled his double and Doman pulled his home run, but the other hits have gone to the opposite field, including Willingham's RBI double toward the right field corner. Inside ball 1. Willingham has, or had, the team lead in runs batted in for 1 at bat, because Doman hit a 2-run home run behind him. AT&T Trivia, who was the last Twin to lead the American League in hit by pitch for a season. And now 3-0 with Doman on deck.
Willingham currently leading the league.
Knobloch got hit a lot.
Yeah.
Cesar Tovar got hit a lot.
Did, yeah.
I'll bet it wasn't Bob Allison. Bob wouldn't have taken too kindly to that. See Willingham's green lighted. He takes one off the outside corner and he walks here to fill first base for Doman.
Heron walking his first batter of the ball game. And just missing with that fastball down and away.
Doman got a pitch up out of the strike zone, but he put the barrel of the bat on it and lifted it over the wall in right center. Again, all 4 of his home runs from this side of the plate. Might have crossed up Iannetta. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Ball 1. Doman with a 2 home run game in Seattle on Sunday. He got the first one out of the way tonight early. Half swing and a strike. Front tap foul. I don't know if this makes any sense. I'll try to explain it. I had a thought on the drive home last night that the Twins lineup, as anemic as it's been for most of the season, would be a much better lineup if the Twins had better starting pitching. I'm not sure the starting pitching would be any better if the Twins had a better lineup. Does that make any sense?
No, it does make sense. You know, it all keys up. You have to win the close ball games. You have to win the 3-2 ball games. And then you have to win, you know, hopefully, a 10-9 game like the Twins did against the Angels. But you have to win some close ball games.
But for a lineup that has been in a slump, falling behind 2-0 after the first inning, time after time after time, it doesn't help you break out of a team-wide slump. But now it's 3-2 to Doman. You can tell yourself all you want, we want to stay with our game plan and all that, but when you're constantly behind on the scoreboard early in the ball game.
Well, you go through ups and downs throughout a season, and the Twins are definitely on a down. You hope that the up comes quicker than it stays down.
3-2 to Ryan Doman. Popped it back and out of play. Trying to break through again against Dan Heron. They pushed 3 runs across in the first inning. Now a threat in the third. Hook foul. Wicked. Over the Twins dugout. Everybody okay? I hope. .56 pitches for Heron, and he's only got 1 out in the third inning. To ball 4, and they're loaded up now for Valencia.
Well, 2 straight walks by Dan Heron, who came into this ball game with only 7 walks in 40 innings pitched. Mike Butcher, not John Butcher, coming out to talk to Dan Heron.
Thank you.
Quick trip to the mound by Mike Butcher. Dan Heron making his 262nd major league start here tonight. He has 108 wins, 86 career losses, 15 complete games, 5 shutouts, career ERA at 3.59 coming into this ball game. 16-game winner last year for the Angels.
This is where you need a good hit right here off the bat of Danny Valencia. Take advantage of the 2 walks. Take advantage of the Mauer double. Now he's at third looking to score.
Make Herron throw you a strike right now. Ball 1. Pitch that tickled the outside corner. Looked like Valencia tried to pull it.
They stayed with an off-speed pitch right there. Maybe looking fastball. Good numbers with bases loaded for Danny.
1-2. Angel bullpen getting an early wake-up call. David Pauley warming up.
Yeah, Pauley just getting called up when Troy Hawkins was put on a disabled list with a broken right pinky.
Back to the mound. 1, 2, 3. And the Twins come up empty in the third. It's the 42nd comebacker that the Twins have hit this year. We head to the 4th inning. Torrey Hunter, Mark Trumbo, Howie Kendrick, the middle of the Angel lineup to hit against Scott Diamond. And we're happy to have Stan Dickman, the director of the Twins fantasy camp, to talk a little bit about an option for many of you who have played baseball, maybe have not played baseball, but would like to give it a try at the Twins fantasy camp right after the first of the year. The dates, January 5th to the 12th. And you've got Mr. Blyleven as your pro camp director.
Yes.
Have you rethought that decision at all?
I've had a few sleepless nights, Dick, but no, that's the best move we've made.
Ball 1 to Hunter. Now, Stan, you were telling me down in the field before you've had a lot of rookies, you call them, first-timers who've inquired about it. When they ask about it, what's the selling point to the first-timers? Dozier scoops it up, slings it across the Mauer, 1 away.
Well, what I tell anybody that calls me, Dick, when we talk about the camp is coming to the fantasy camp is like being invited into the inner circle of the Minnesota Twins family. And I mean, just more than just the camp itself, it's the opportunity to spend time with people like yourself and Bert and Ken Herbeck and Frank Viola and Tim Laudner and Frank
Tom Bernansky.
I mean, the list goes on. It's a great group of people. And once you've been to the camp once, you're part of the family.
1-0 to Mark Trumbo. Howie Kendrick will hit next.
Doesn't mean we always get along either, especially in the Kangaroo Court. We raise a lot of money for Children's Hospital down there but you know what? We have a great time. There's no scouts there, and I think that's the first thing people have to realize. You're not going to go down and sign a professional contract if you come to the Twins fantasy camp. This is to have fun. It's to congregate together and just play the game of baseball. How many games do we play? 8, 9 games a week.
You're going to play at least 8, and some of the campers will play 10 to 12 games before the week. So it's a lot of baseball. Yeah, you talk about the money we raised, Bert, in one of our most recent newsletters. We touched on that directly in the 5 years I've been involved with the camp.
Stroked solidly to left. Willingham, backhander, knocks it down. And Trumbo will go to second with a 1-out double. First extra base hit against Scott Diamond.
Yeah, the direct money we've earned from the campers through Kangaroo Court fines and through some of the charity auctions that we do, we've raised probably over $80,000. Now we leverage some of that every year and become one of the sponsors for the Twin Celebrity Golf Classic down at Fort Myers, and in our partnership with Lee Memorial Children's Hospital down there, we're real proud to have raised over $600,000 over the last 5 years.
And I think we showed in that clip, women are invited. They participate in camp, and 3 or 4 women were part of the camp last year, right?
We had 4 last year, and 3 of them are already registered to return next year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know, Dick, you come down, you dress out, you have a great time. You were the MVP, camp MVP member, many times. I know your lack of ability has kind of diminished a little bit over the years.
I wanted to bring up not that. Thank you for doing that. But and of course, the money raised in the Kangaroo Court does go to a very good cause. But I'm wondering whether you've given any thought to my children's desire to go to college, because I seem to really get hammered during the Kangaroo Court. It has a lot to do with who the judge is.
I don't think you get hammered any more than yours truly here. Because most of the time I have it coming. Aggie still won't speak to me for forgetting to put his name on the back of this year's camp T-shirt. That cost me $200 by the judge here. So, but no, it's a great week for. I think there was one of the Iron Rangers, one of the guys. I think it was Jim Perunovich from up north, said coming to camp was like being 12 years old and having nothing to do but think about baseball for a solid week.
Rolled to the right side. Carroll has it. Trumbo advances to third. We showed the group picture of all the pros there, and that's something that I just.
Here's some video of a star player. Now there's a base hit right here. Look at you take off. Are you going to slide? Yes, he slides safely.
He's in there.
And I think we have another highlight.
I knew there was one more coming. I knew there was one more coming.
42. Make it 43. Back to the pitcher.
I just hope nobody had you and picked the stick.
I thought I had destroyed that copy of that video.
But you had a good swing.
I did.
You got the barrel of the bat.
It was a 3-0 count, too. That was a 3-0 count. That was awesome.
I think you were trying to do a favor. Move one of the games along, I believe.
My managers, coaches, were Tom Bernansky and Kent Herbeck. I immediately went on the waiver wire after that.
Yeah, one of the other things that I know Bert and Dick, you guys have been very involved in helping us with is our Wooded Warrior Project. We've now had 5 Warriors in camp over the last 2 years.
Deep down the left field line.
Go foul.
It's a foul ball.
Well, how can people get involved? I know you mentioned the Wounded Warriors and these guys come down and play, but how can people get involved in fantasy camp if they're interested?
They should contact us. Like the telephone number's been thrown up a couple of times. 888-446-TWIN. Give us a call at the office. Leave your information. I'm not there tonight, and I'd be more than happy to get back to you. Visit us on the web at www.yuratwin.com or twinsbaseball.com, and we'll get right back to you, get you all the information that you need. There's a great FAQ tab on our website at yuratwin.com that'll answer a lot of those questions that are most frequently asked. And we got Father's Day, Mother's Day coming up. This makes a tremendous gift. I'm always amazed at how many wives have sent their husbands
just to get out of town for a week.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's either walleye fishing this weekend or fantasy camp in January.
1-1 to Vernon Wells. Fastball off the plate, 2-1. And if I can expand on the age restrictions, there are none. I pitched one year. I stood on the mound and I had a 72-year-old first baseman, a 74-year-old second baseman, and a 70-year-old third baseman.
Strike him out, Dick. Strike him out.
I never had more fun in my life. It was awesome. Tapper to short. Dozier has it. The Angels strand another runner. Another shutout inning for Scott Diamond, and our thanks to Stan Dickman for stopping by and talking about the fantasy game.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, guys.
And asked Brian Dozier, what's the greatest baseball advice you received as a kid?
Probably from my college baseball coach. Regardless of what all happens, on the field or off the field, anything, there's one thing that is very dear to me, is playing the game the right way. Tom Kelly always says it best: if you don't respect the game, then it'll come back and slap you right in the face.
And each Tuesday, send in your questions using the hashtag #AskATwin, and your question may make the airwaves on Twitter Tuesday to convert.
Well, thank you.
We just saw Trevor Plouffe get a base hit to left field. Twins get their 6th hit of the ball game. Plouffe's first.
Well, I'm on Twitter. You're on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just got a tweet from Steve Russian, great sports writer who is from Bloomington. As Plouffe taking off and Butera tries to hit the ball behind him. He wrote for Sports Illustrated brilliantly for a long time. And he points out to me that Twin starter Scott Diamond joins Margaret Court, Hubert Green, among athletes who are also playing on their own playing surface.
Very good.
Very nice.
That base hit by Trevor Plouffe, that ended an 0 for 15 little mini slump he was in.
The Twins put the hit and run on here. Butera couldn't put it in play. Had a big threat going in the third, but fantasy campers and major leaguers, sometimes they all hit into 1, 2, 3 double plays. Butera actually stung the ball hard his last time up.
He hit the ball sharply to center fielder Mike Trout. That coming in the 2nd inning.
In the dirt. What we saw of Jared Weaver last night was significantly less than what we saw when he threw his no-hitter. Weaver himself admitted that. He found a way to win without his best stuff. And similarly, I think what we've seen from Herron here tonight is not quite as sharp a performance as we saw in the game here earlier in April.
Well, you know what? You make the adjustment, and that's what Dan Herron will try to do.
Butera takes another one solidly up the middle. So the Twins have hits from Plouffe and Butera, and that'll bring Carroll to the plate.
Drew, of course, spent the whole month of April down in Rochester, got called up on May 1st. And just his 4th at-bat since his call-up. Lines a base hit to center field. Little breaking ball. Good piece of hitting right there by Drew. Puts runners at first and second. Nobody out.
Well, Carroll will hit, but Mike Scioscia is going to come out and perhaps make a pitching change here. The Angel bullpen again is an area of concern, and was before they lost at least one reliever Sunday afternoon. LaTroy Hawkins is out. He's on the 15-day disabled list. Scioscia will stick with Herron. Scott Downs is here, but might not be available to pitch.
Yeah, I think Mike Scioscia just went out there and wanted to make sure that, Dan Herron's okay. Now, over his last 4 starts, Dan Herron, they've all been quality starts. He's got a 1-1 record, but an ERA at 2.17 over his last 4 starts. So, Mike Scioscia just making sure, get Dan Herron refocused, see if they can get out of this inning.
Angels expecting a bunt. Callaspo and Pujols playing in at the corners, and Carroll waiting for a good pitch to bunt, and he takes ball 1. Here's a guy who's 38 years old. He's been asked to do this his entire career, and he knows what a good pitch to bunt is, and that wasn't it.
Well, a couple things you could do right here. Pujols in on the grass, bunt it down third, softly to first. That's an outstanding bunt right there.
And Carroll moves the runners up. Moves to third, Gutierrez to second.
That is an outstanding bunt right there. You want that third baseman, this being Alberto Callaspo, to come in and field the ball, because he has to leave third base unprotected, where Plouffe can basically walk to third. An outstanding sacrifice by Jamie Carroll.
And now Herron will go after 2 inexperienced hitters, Eric Komatsu and Brian Dozier. Komatsu with a pop-up soft line drive, in reality, to Pujols in the first inning, and then a fly ball hit fairly well toward the gap in right center, gathered in by Hunter. Strike call. Now Callaspo actually playing off the line and a little bit in front of the bag at third base, and Pujols even with the bag at first. Komatsu.
A great opportunity here for Komatsu to pick up his first major league RBI or 2.
Down low, 1-1. This will be the 70th pitch for Dan Herron. Twins had a great chance. Bases loaded, 1 out in the third. Got nothing out of it. Scored their 3 runs in the first on a pair of 2-out extra base hits. Around the hands, 2-1. Big spot for Komatsu, trying to win over some hometown fans in this at bat. 2-2. When Herron got Valencia to 2 strikes, he got a double play ball and got out of the inning. And of course, Valencia at that point would have been satisfied, I think, with a sacrifice fly. And similarly, Komatsu is just trying to loft one here deep enough to get Plouffe in from third.
Even a ground ball past the pitcher.
This one hit to right center field. Plouffe setting up for a tag. Trout with the throw going to third, and Plouffe will score, and Komatsu gets the job done. His first big league run batted in.
There it is right there. So Eric Komatsu doing his job right there, and that's driving in a run. Twins take a 4-0 lead. Komatsu picks up his first RBI at the major league level.
And now Dozier. 1 for 4. Scored a run in the first inning. Has a chance to drive in his first run. 1 strike to Dozier. And now a ball. Josh Hamilton is having a remarkable night at Camden Yards.
Wow.
4 home runs. He's 5 for 5 with 4 homers and a double. And the Rangers leading 10-1. I almost picked him and picked the stick. Hamilton is going to be a free agent after this year. And he may have drawn the Orioles into the bidding war with that performance tonight. 2-1. Dozier takes a strike. Meanwhile, the White Sox bullpen has coughed up another lead. The Indians and White Sox are tied. Cleveland still batting 3-3, bottom of the 8th. And Dozier drops it over the head of Pujols. Rounding third and scoring is Butera. And Dozier drives in his first big league run.
Dozier picking up his second hit, his third major league hit. Good piece of hitting right here. Watch this pitch. Away, just goes with it. Doesn't try to pull it. And hits it softly down that right field line.
Well, make plans to spend your Mother's Day with the Twins as they wrap up a series with the Blue Jays. The first 10,000 female fans will get a pink Twin scarf courtesy of Pepsi. This Sunday is the big day, and the game is set for 1:10. So bring Mom to Target Field by calling 833-TWINS or going to twinsbaseball.com. The Twins get into the Angel bullpen in the 4th inning. And Mauer, who doubled against Heron in the 3rd inning, will come up with a runner at first and 2 down.
Yeah, David Pauley coming into the ballgame, making his first Angel debut, just getting called up when, again, LaTroy Hawkins was put on a disabled list.
Outside ball 1.
Twins have seen a little bit about David Pauley. He's pitched for the Red Sox, the Mariners, Detroit, and now in an Angel uniform.
Did very well last year in the first half of the year for the Mariners. Was traded to Detroit along with Doug Fister. And Fister did well for Detroit. Pauley did not. He struggled again in spring training, and the Tigers cut him free.
Yeah, they released him actually March 12th, which is kind of early in spring training, and then he ended up signing with the Angels later in March.
Mauer lifts it to left. Wells coming in, and he's not going to get there. Mauer has a couple of hits to the side and then in front of the left fielder Vernon Wells.
Well, things going the Twins' way here tonight. So many times we see the Twins, hitting the ball sharply, but it's right at the outfielder. Here tonight, some of the hits falling in front. Good to see. Hawley with a fastball away off the end of the bat. Joe Mauer softly hitting it in front of Vernon Wells. Twins pick up their 9th hit of the ball game.
Yeah, this might be the game the Twins have been waiting for, where you look for one game where everybody kind of shakes the shivers out of their bones and gets some hits. Willingham got an awfully big one in the first inning, a 2-out double to right field.
That might have been the biggest hit right there, because you know what, you struggle scoring runs with 2 outs. You need somebody to step up, and Josh able to do that with that RBI double. Ryan Doumit right after that, the 2-run home run.
And Willingham takes outside 1-1. Nothing Twins. 2-1. Sky is cleared late afternoon here in downtown Minneapolis, and the Twins have had more fun in the first 4 innings here tonight than they've had in the last 2 weeks. Into short right field. Hunter coming in, and he makes the catch to end the inning. 2 left aboard, 2 have scored, and it's 5-0 Twins. It's been a good night for Twins baseball here at Target Field. A 5-0 lead. Scott Diamond has pitched 4 innings of shutout ball. He'll face Eric Ibar to lead off the 5th. And a fastball up and away with Ibar showing bunt.
Well, a lot of keys in this ball game so far here starting the 5th inning. Twins getting some extra base hits. Diamond the last 2 innings have left a runner at third base and 2 outs. He's been able to get out of the inning. So Diamond credit him too for not giving up that 2-out hit and keeping the Angels off the scoreboard so far.
Ibar had one of those at bats, 2 men on, 2 out in the 2nd, and he hit a line drive to Valencia to end the inning. And a strike called on the outside corner, 1-2. Ibar, Iannetta, and Trout in the Angel 5th. And he came inside with a cutter and struck him out.
And strikeout number 4 in the ball game for Scott Diamond. Good fastball inside. You see where Butera is sitting, and the ball running inside, and Ibar swinging through it.
You can ask a question or offer up a comment online at carsoup.com/baseball. Lisa Thomas from Bloomington wondering whether we think Jamie Carroll will still see the field every day, or will he be more of a utility guy for the Twins?
I think what Ron Gardenhire has already said, that Jamie's going to play some short, he's going to play some second, going to play some third. Will he be in every day? He's 38 years old. He hasn't missed a game yet, has he? And you can see where most of his time at the major league level has been at second base, but he's also played some outfield.
Tapper to short. Dozier as a routine play. Over to Mauer, 2 down. Well, I think that Carroll is going to be in the lineup someplace every day. He's played that well in the field. As much of an emphasis as the Twins place on improving their infield defense last year, and as much as the Twins have a pitch to contact pitching staff, I think they feel much more comfortable with Carroll out there someplace. And if they've already announced to the world that Dozier is going to play every day at shortstop with an occasional day off, I think Carroll's going to be the primary second baseman, occasionally filling in a third. Here's Trout. He's reached both times, once with a single, once with a walk. Foul back, 2 strikes. This is about as close as the Twins have had for a long time of a pitcher and catcher playing catch. I mean, they've just gone back and forth. Diamond, put the ball in play, but there hasn't been, a lot of. I don't think there's been one trip to the mound, has there? Butera maybe has gone out once.
Yeah, again, maybe Gardy put Butera behind the plate because of the little bit of relationship they have, and Butera, a catcher that gets down very low. Now he's working away again. Watch Diamond. If he missed, you miss away, which he did right there. He's semi around his spots, and that's what Tom Bernansky told me, that he's making his pitches down in Rochester in AAA. Bernansky, the hitting coach, he said he's just getting that big breaking ball over. And that's a pitch right there that sure looked good from here.
Just missed, striking out.
Fox Track says.
Yeah, he's inside. I believe Fox Tracks. I really do.
Well, we had that meeting in New York, and they said there's 2 inches on each side that are forgivable, and that was strike 3, but instead it's the third out.
The first 1-2-3 inning for Scott Diamond.
Minnesota State Lottery tickets here for Veronica Burt from Watertown, Minnesota. And her daughter, I called you Veronica, you're Penny. Yeah. Veronica's her daughter, and she says, Burt, circle my mom for Mother's Day as they're out here enjoying a group outing here in right field. And you've been circled by Burt now, and husband Luke is watching, right?
Yes, Luke.
All right, Luke. So there you go. Your daughter and your wife circled by Burt, and they're having a lot of fun here. They might be home a little late tonight.
Yeah, you are hereby circled.
David Pauley facing Ryan Doumit, who's 1 for 1 with a walk. His one was a home run to right, his 4th of the year, his 3rd in the last 3 games, 2 of them coming Sunday. 1-1. He's already scored 5 times on 9 hits. Up high, 2-1. Swing and a foul, 2-2. Twins came back impressively against the Angels about a month ago. Angels were up by 6 runs. Twins came back to win it. That was the game that Dan Herron started. And Doumit lifts it foul over the Angel dugout.
Well, David Pauley has a sinking fastball in the low 90s. Very good curveball and a changeup. His career numbers over 4 seasons, 9 wins, 18 losses with an ERA at 5.52. He did some starting for the clubs that he was with, the Red Sox, Seattle, and Detroit, but mainly used as a reliever.
Dropped down sidearm a little bit there with a breaking ball and missed badly. 3-2. Doumit, Valencia, and Plouffe.
You know, Dan Herron worked the first 3 2/3 innings. He had 2 walks, no strikeouts.
Soft line drive to Pujols, 1 away.
And I bring that up, Dick, because Dan Herron's a strikeout pitcher, so I had our research department look it up, and the last time he started a ball game where he didn't have a strikeout, you have to go September 4th of 2004.
Wow. Where is he, with Oakland back then?
Yeah, he didn't have 1 strikeout.
Wow. Here's Valencia. Bouncer to third and a 1-2-3 double play back to Herron in the 3rd inning.
Now 2004 he's with the Cardinals.
There's a strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Angels regularly pitching Valencia away. They hang a breaking ball and get a called strike. It's not at least that's not where the target was. That time Danny got caught maybe looking out over the plate. 1-2. Hit hard to right center field. Hunter back. And he reaches out and grabs it on the warning track. Valencia hit it with some authority to the opposite field for out number 2. Torrey a little unsure about the wall here. He's talking with me today about the padding out there on the outfield. Remember, he had that frightening collision with the sidewall in the right field corner earlier this year. Looked like he could have gotten seriously hurt. Up and into Plouffe, ball 1.
We just found out 245 starts. Dan Herron.
Wow.
Had at least 1 strikeout in the ballgame.
Plouffe with a bouncer to second, and then a leadoff single in the 4th. And he scored the 4th Twins run later in the inning. Pujols watches this sail over the Twins dugout. Mentioned it last night. It bears repeating because Plouffe has still seen most of his time in the big leagues as a shortstop. But with Dozier here, who's going to play, and 2 backups in short, Jamie Carroll and Alexi Casilla, it would appear that Plouffe's days as a shortstop with this roster are behind him. He skips that one under the glove of Ibar, and he's aboard with his 2nd hit.
Well, Twins, I believe, are going to give Trevor every opportunity to show that he can hit at the major league level. Now, Paulie leaves a ball up, fastball up, and a good solid swing. He got this ball through the infield very quickly. Paulie giving up his second hit in relief.
Rasmussen College proud to present Student Days every Wednesday at Target Field. Students can attend the Twins-Angels game tomorrow night. Get a standing room only ticket for just $8. They're available beginning at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And there's a limit of 1 ticket per student with a valid ID. If you'd like more info, go to twinsbaseball.com. Here's Butera, who's hit the ball sharply twice tonight. Both times up the middle. Once caught by Trout. The other time the ball landed safely in front of Trout for a single. Ball 1. Hit deep down the left field line to the pole. Foul. Butera really hit one out.
Well, Butera, who has 4 major league home runs, almost made it 5.
A little too much hook. Butera with 3 swings, and he's put the barrel on the ball all 3 times here tonight. Lifted to right center field, and an easy catch for Hunter. And that ends the 5th. On to the 6th. The Twins up 5-0.
For the Twins game at Target Field on Wednesday. Mostly clear skies, temperatures pretty comfortable by first pitch in the middle 60s with winds out of the west.
And a 5-0 Twins lead here in the middle game of this series. I think we're done with the rain, aren't we?
Not till Thursday.
I think this front is moving through, and we're going to have clear skies tomorrow, and it's supposed to be sunny and 74, I think, on Thursday when I am a member of the grounds crew. I might be wearing one of those. Well, the Angels have been shut out through 5 innings by Scott Diamond. A little extra. Me and Julio down by the schoolyard here. We're waiting for the music to stop. Paul Simon is a great artist. I think everybody likes Paul Simon, but not when we're ready to play baseball.
Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire, asking them to please stop the music. Well, maybe they see something there.
No, we just trying to figure out where the music is coming from, and we've got 1972, I believe it was. Paul Simon released this. Me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Now we're told that maybe there's a delay because of a light issue behind home plate. They're apparently just playing the music to fill the time while we're debating about the light issue. Now they've turned the lights off. Okay. Well, it could have been worse. It could have been playing You Can Call Me Al. That would have been a worse song to listen to. Here's Callaspo leading off the 6th, and there's a strike.
What was it, Duke in the Dark? That's how you know all these songs?
Yeah, well, plus I listened to popular music in the 70s. You were busy pitching. You were busy, worrying about your next start, laying down sacrifice bunts and all the other things. All the other things you were worried about as a 20-something-year-old in the big leagues. The ground ball hit to Dozier. Backhands it, guns it across, got him one down.
Hey, Ron Coomer, as Albert Pujols comes up, last time up, as he grounded out to Valencia at the end of 3rd inning, you were talking about Albert as far as where he was loading up, and I think a lot of fans would probably, what do you mean by that?
Well, we're going to see a side shot here of Albert. See how his weight is dead in the middle, almost forward. He barely gets back, and now his weight is already coming forward before he's swinging. When you look right here on a side shot of this, you're going to see his weight is dead in the middle. And to me, he never gets loaded. And when you get loaded, that's when you're recognizing the pitch. And you're just seeing him go back and forth. And that's why he's been so susceptible to off-speed pitches. And then when they speed him up, he's getting jammed on a pitch inside, Bert.
He's very open, isn't he, with his stance? I know he's probably always been that way, but when you load, you're talking about that right leg, that back leg of his.
Correct. And where the load will go is you'll feel your weight on the back instep of your back foot. And if you watch, it goes back forward for him. And that's why he's just hitting these little ground balls instead of hitting through the baseball.
What a play by Dozier, going to his right, going into the slide. Catching the ball, popping up and throwing out Pujols.
You know what? He has made every play so far. This is a second major league game, and it looks like he's been out there a long time. Take a look right here. Ball going in the hole. Danny can't get it at third base. Dozier slides, comes up, and makes a good throw over to Joe Mauer. Very nice play by Brian Dozier. Very nicely done.
First pitch to Hunter, fouled back.
Guys, I remember day 2 for me, and I don't know if I was sliding for ground balls to come up throwing guys out.
And now 1-1.
See, Ron, I think Ron Coomer's open. You see Torrey Hunter, he kind of lifts that left leg up a little bit, takes the shoe, off the ground when he's ready to hit. So he does load on that back foot because he does lift up that front leg.
Diamond with a 1-2-3-6, and for the first time this year, a Twin starting pitcher has pitched 6 shutout innings.
at Target Field. Here are some of encouragement words from soon-to-be co-worker Dick.
Hey Dick, you're going to be painting the TC on Thursday, and that's normally my job. The key is to keep a steady hand, and if you screw up, the only thing you're going to be painting is your wife's fingernails.
Whoa. There's the TC. That's a big responsibility.
Man alive.
And somewhere Heidi's going, come on, mess up, Dick, mess up. I need my fingernails polished.
I never thought about that. I hope I'm not taking anybody's job.
Just one day. A long day at that.
I'm just glad the Twins haven't scored 5 runs on 10 hits for the first time in the homestand Thursday night, or it'd probably be a move afoot to make it permanent to be down on the ground screw. 1-1 to Jamie Carroll, followed by Komatsu and Dozier. Carroll with a double down the left field line, dropped down a sacrifice bunt that led directly to 2-run scoring in the 4th, and now a drive to the gap in left center. It's been a great game for Jamie Carroll, who makes a big turn at first and holds up there.
Yeah, second hit for Jamie Carroll, and this Thursday Dick Bramer will be joining the grounds crew to find out what it takes to keep Target Field in shape. From the setup at 9 a.m. the post-game cleanup, Dick learns the ins and outs of Target Field's green grass. Join Fox Sports North for a special Twins game on Thursday starting at 6:30 with the Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. You're going to have fun.
I am looking forward to it. Carroll dives back to the bag. Komatsu with a sacrifice fly drove in his first major league run. The Angels pitch out.
I can honestly say all the years I pitched at the big league level that I never had a first baseman that is off the bag like Albert Pujols. You know, when I come into my stretch position, you see Albert's probably 3-4 feet off of that first base bag. Then he gets out further. I just wonder how far that rule is for, you know, baseball, how far he could creep off that bag without him being, you know, near the bag.
Right. Boy, 12, 15 years ago, they started loosening that up. You cannot throw to an unattended base.
Right. But once he makes a move like that right there, I mean, he's 6-7 feet from the bag. I would think as a base stealer or potential base runner, how big your lead is, because normally you're thinking that, well, that guy's straddling the bag. Ron, you're down there.
Yeah, guys, you'd probably take 1 good to 2 good steps past where the first baseman would be. And the one thing, though, you got to remember with the base being unoccupied, you can be off the base. You just have to be going to occupy the base when the ball's being thrown. You know, kind of on a pickoff. If the first baseman was playing in behind, then he cut in behind the runner.
Now, you played first base. Did you ever do that?
I did it only when I was trying to cover more ground, and we were trying to protect the gap a little bit.
Komatsu drives it to right. Hunter glides after it, makes the catch, 1 away.
As a base runner, Ron, does that mess you up when say Pujols is off the bag 4 or 5 feet?
It doesn't mess you up from the pitcher, but the problem that you have is, let's say they know they're going to pick off at first. The one thing Albert's doing is he's almost in the base path. I mean, he's just barely in front of the base path.
Right.
So there are times where if he were to take a half step back going for the ball, as you look right here, now he's in line with the base path.
Runner goes, and a stolen base.
Yeah, Jamie Carroll had a great jump right there off of the pitcher, Paulie. For Jamie Carroll, his 3rd stolen base, and for the Twins, their 15th of the year. Good pitch to run on, too, a breaking ball. And Carroll gets in the scoring position with 1 out.
See, and I think that's part of the deal, where when Albert's off the base by 2 or 3 feet, that gives the base runner an extra 6, 8, 10 inches, maybe even a foot more leadoff than he usually gets.
Dozier, a pair of singles tonight, 1 run scored, 1 run batted in. And he's made a couple of nice plays in the field again. 2-0. Popped up. Pujols coming in, and it's the catcher leaving it for Pujols. Iannetta ran up the line a little bit. Pujols had a long run, and he gets there for out number 2. Follow the Twins with MLB.com at Bat 12 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, or Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit twinsbaseball.com for details.
Well, they're going to walk Joe Mauer intentionally. And pitch to Josh Willingham.
So Mauer will fill first base. 2 pop fly hits from Mauer, and now a walk. Willingham, who delivered the first run for the Twins with a first inning double, walked in the 3rd and then came up with 2 men on and 2 out in the 5th. Paulie got him to fly out to right field. We'll have a second chance at Paulie here in the 6th.
You know, baseball's always saying they should speed up the game somehow. They should just say, if you're going to intentionally walk somebody, just say 4 and then just go to first. That would speed up a minute right there.
Did you ever, in all your years, and you had to intentionally walk some guys, did you ever uncork a wild pitch?
No, I was very lucky. No.
Every once in a while you'll see it.
Yeah, you do.
Well, here's Willingham.
Well, Mitch Williams, yes.
Here's Willingham again, his second look at David Paulie here tonight. Pulled it foul, 1 strike. Back to our trivia question. Who was the last Twin to lead the American League in hit batters for a season?
Probably Knobloch, huh?
Shane Mack, who was a teammate.
Yes, he was.
Down and away, ball 1.
While I was gone, I know that Tom Kelly and Roy Smalley, both those guys did very well on the trivia, and we had a lot of extra points.
Right. Sure. 1-1 to Willingham. A roller headed up the middle. Ibar with a nice stop. He'll have no play.
Oh.
And now Carroll just got back to the bag. He had to slam on the brakes and pull a 180 because Ibar threw behind him.
Well, I guarantee you Steve Little was screaming right there. I mean, you know, Steve Little's got to watch that ball go through the infield. And, of course, Jamie Carroll, his back is to what's happening. So he's got to pick up Steve Little, the third base coach, and then also listen. And I'm sure Steve right there saying back, back, back. And Carroll just getting back safely.
Remember Friday night in Seattle, the Twins won the ball game largely because Carroll made a play like that, kept the ball in the infield, kept the run from scoring. Here's Domit, who can make it all a moot point. Bases loaded, 2 out. Domit hit a 2-run home run walk and hit a soft line drive to Pujols. One strike. Down and in, 1-1. Dozen hits for the Twins. At least 1 in every inning. Some extra base hits. And an early exit for the Angels starter Dan Herron. Deep but foul down the left field line, 1-2.
You know, when the Twins signed Ryan Domit over the winter, they ended up getting a guy that You know, last year he had some injuries. He hit .303 with the Pirates in 77 games, but a career .271 hitter. Guy that has power from both sides of the plate. Looking for a big hit right here with bases loaded. And 2 outs.
That foul.
Ryan Doumit with 4 home runs on the year, 71 in his career.
1-2. Breaking ball wide of the plate. Just missed the corner. He tried to clip the inside corner and missed. Now the bases are full and the count is full. Ooh, it's close. Everybody will be running. Doumit just got a piece of it, and Paulie got him out in front. Full count to Ryan Doumit. All over the Angel dugout. Doumit with 3 two-strike fouls here.
Ryan with 3 career grand slams, the last one coming last year in San Diego.
Got him. So the Twins leave the bases full in the 6th. Still lead 5-0.
Well, in the first inning, a big RBI, 2-out RBI by Josh Willingham, a double, and then a 2-run home run by Ryan Doumit made it a 3-0 lead. But story of the game to me is Scott Diamond in his first start this year, 6 shutout innings so far. He's allowed only 4 hits, 10 ground ball outs, 2 fly ball outs to go with his 5 strikeouts.
As we said, it's the first time this year that a Twins pitcher has pitched 6 shutout innings, and so he's out there to try to extend that to 7 innings.
87 pitches, 51 for strikes for Scott Diamond.
Mark Trumbo rifled a double to left field his last time up. Diamond misses the outside corner. Trumbo, Kendrick, and Wells. Big swing and a miss.
Well, one thing I've been watching is Butera move left and right, and usually, I mean, the last 2 pitches, he fastball just down and away. He missed. Drew sat down and away. There he sat down and away and went away. Drew sitting away again, and the pitch right there.
Wow.
That's pitching right there. That's hitting your spot and making that plate grow a little bit as the game goes on.
And as Butera stares down at Trumbo's feet, he's thinking about what to call next. Breaking ball got him. A swinging strikeout of Trumbo for the first out of the 7th.
Well, he got Trumbo on the same pitch in the 2nd inning, that breaking ball down, and he gets him again on the good breaking ball down out of the strike zone. So strikeout number 6 for Scott Diamond. Good downward plane. Keep it down in the strike zone.
Here's Kendrick, a single and a ground out. Man alive.
Oh, you mentioned last inning, you know, as a catcher, my goodness, when you're back there, you're sitting like in a rocking chair and just moving left and right, and, you know, you're hitting the spots. .91 pitches.
Jared Burton warming up. One of the things that's nice here at Target Field, and all the other ballparks too for that matter, they display the pitch count, and it does dominate the game and how the game is managed by the dugout. And so let's imagine Diamond here in the 7th inning. He gets through this inning, and the fans will be well aware that he probably will not be coming out for the 8th. He should get a really nice ovation. 1 and 2.
Well, down in Rochester, his longest outing, 7 innings, he threw 91 pitches. And then his next start, he threw 98 pitches in 6 1/3.
1 and 2 to Kendrick. Now 2 and 2. The guy with the least experience in the rotation is showing everybody how it's done.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
That foul, and that got the home plate umpire, Corey Blazer. Time now for the CenturyLink high-speed pitch.
Well, Dan Herron started the ball game, went only 3 2/3 innings. He was clocked as high as 89, and Scott Diamond at 92.
2 and 2. Weak ground ball to short. Dozier charges, fires on the run. Plenty of arm strength there. He threw on the run and kind of sidearmed it and got it there in front of the speedy Kendrick. 2 down.
Another nice play by Brian Dozier. We've seen him go back to his left, right. Here he has to charge, play the little short hop, and then have something on his throw to get the speedy Kendrick at first.
There's Vernon Wells. Pitch number 95 for Scott Diamond. Might have left one up and got away with it. Wells fouled it straight back.
But you know what? If you're constantly down, 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 all of a sudden that ball up, the hitter kind of changes that hitter's eye view a little bit because everything's been down in the strike zone. You're going to get away with some pitches like that. Now get back down again. Make the adjustment. Very good pitch.
1 and 1. Foul 1 and 2. 100 pitches, and let's hope that the fans here at Target Field show Scott Diamond their appreciation for what he's done here through 6 2/3 innings. And now 7. 7 shutout innings for Scott Diamond. Get a freshly brewed cup of premium roast coffee from McDonald's. Any size is just $1. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. Just what the doctor or general manager ordered. Some quality starting pitching tonight.
Let's do a little pun with words. Twins may have found a diamond in the rough.
There weren't any diamond cutters up the middle. Danny Valencia will lead off the 7th. 2 strikes.
Well, Rick Anderson congratulating Scott Diamond. 102 pitches, 62 for strikes. There's the handshake. What a performance. Twins needed that badly. They came into this ballgame, the starters, 4 wins, 17 losses, with an ERA at 6.75 combined. So what Scott Diamond did here today, my goodness, hopefully that'll generate into Pavano and then, you know, Markham and so on. Or,
Marquis, excuse me. Well, we found out that bad pitching is contagious. Let's hope good pitching is contagious. Valencia strikes out for the first out of the 7th. Bring up Trevor Plouffe.
Well, Scott Diamond here tonight. I mean, he just gave up only 4 hits, 2 of them coming in the 2nd inning. He had retired the last 11 straight batters, hitting his spots, 6 strikeouts in the ballgame. That a career high, making just his 8th major league start.
Trevor Plouffe takes ball 1. Back into the seats. As he described, he was pulled out of his last AAA start after 3 innings. Twins general manager Terry Ryan was in attendance. They wanted to get a look at Diamond, and things weren't going well on the West Coast, so they went ahead and pulled him out of the game after 3 innings. Behind first, chased by Kendrick and Hunter. Kendrick with the catch, out number 2. Sanford Health, Mariano Rivera, during the knee procedure, they said that the evaluation did not go smoothly, that there were some complications, but they did describe that or say that the complication wouldn't in any way delay his return to the active roster next year. Now, what the complications were, unless they divulge that's none of our business, I suppose, but might be nothing more than a 42-year-old knee not reacting well to the probe or whatever they use to examine it.
Again, I've tweeted about Rivera. I'm very proud that, I mean, he's represented the Yankees. He's represented baseball to the highest level of any player that's ever wore a major league uniform. And he said he's not done. He wants to come back. He does not want to retire the way that, the way that it is right now.
And you're happy about that. That's only because you haven't had to take a bat up there in the batter's box and try to hit against him.
He'll come back with a cutter.
And Butera strikes out. The Twins go down quickly in the 7th. 1-2-3.
Copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Quite a night for Scott Diamond, who pitched 7 innings of shutout ball. The Twins gave him some early run support. He seemed like he was in control all night long. The Twins got him that first inning run, or in fact 3 of them. And he never let the Angels up for air after that.
Well, again, Scott Diamond, mostly ground ball outs to go with his 6 strikeouts. Had some good defensive plays made behind him, especially by his shortstop, Brian Dozier. Here's Jared Burton pitching the 8th inning. He has been on fire. He's not allowed a run in his last 9 appearances, covering 9 1/3 innings. Also allowing no hits and only 1 walk and 10 strikeouts. The ERA at 2.45.
It's a few times this year, Bert, that the Twins have gotten into the 8th inning playing with a lead. Tend to forget that you've got some relievers down there that have done a nice job when given leads to protect. And Burton certainly near the head of that list. Here's Ibar, who will lead off the 8th inning.
Yeah, Burton has faced 32 straight batters without giving up a hit. Last hit he gave up was April 12th here against the Angels. And the 2 home runs he allowed, that came in his debut in Baltimore. He gave up a couple home runs.
The idiot on TV said he doesn't give up any home runs.
He gave up 2.
Gave up 2 right away. 1 strike to Ibar. On the ground, Carroll to Mauer, 1 away.
Sarah Sturris with a pinch hit for Iannetta.
Iannetta had gone 0 for 2.
Sturris started at shortstop for the Angels in last night's ball game.
1-0. And now 1-1. The Twins miraculously were given a lead at the top of the 7th inning in Seattle on Friday. Last ball game they won. The bullpen after that was perfect. 9 up, 9 down, 3 different pitchers. Breeze through the Mariner lineup. Hit well to right center field. Plouffe. Rise, running catch in the gap. Trevor Plouffe cut it off and took an extra base hit away from Maicer Izturis.
Yeah, Izturis hit that ball sharply, but Plouffe going to his right and hustling to that ball makes a nice running catch for the second out.
2 down in the 8th inning, and that'll bring up Mike Trout. Strike one. White Sox in 10 innings beat the Indians. The most notable score, other than this one, of course, is the Yankees finally beat the Rays 5-3. That's up the line, and it'll die in the grass.
Yeah, Rays have had the Yankees number over the last couple of years.
7 straight times they've beaten the Yankees. That's remarkable.
Jared Burton, 30 years old, signed by the Twins as a free agent over the winter.
Two strikes to Mike Trout. Blocked by Butera. Wow,
that's the ball you want as a pitcher. Throw that ball in the game. One time somebody hit a ball off the end of the bat and it came back and the ball had a big old gap in it. And Gary Gaetti gave it to him and he was smiling at me, and I looked at the ball and I was smiling. I threw the pitch outer half of the plate. Guy fouled it off the first pitch.
No.
It was like I felt like Little League, you know, please bring the ball back. We'll give you a snow cone or something. Let me have that ball back, please.
1-2. Whoa, just missed the corner. Burton took a little bunny hop off the mound like he got strike 3 there.
Well, watch Butera sitting outside and that ball middle in. Close pitch.
2-2. Got him. Ooh. Burton continues to pitch very well out of the Twins bullpen, and it's still 5-0.
Pretty cool post-game show coming your way. We'll talk about Scott Diamond and how he shined in his season debut tonight for the Minnesota Twins. Scott Diamond with 7 shutout innings. Nice job by him tonight. Ron Gardenhire's post-game press conference and the instructional tonight. A very good one with our experts, Ron Coomer, Bert Blyleven. How to throw a curveball. Dick, I think Bert might be just a little bit qualified on how to instruct
I was hoping
people.
Ron Coomer would show Stan Dickerman how to do that.
What do you know about that, Bert? What do you know?
I was up here when Ron Coomer made some of those throws from third to first. He's got a pretty good curve, too. Hey, sorry, Coombe. Cheap shot there. Strike one to Jamie Carroll. It's been a very good day at the plate, night at the plate for Jamie Carroll and in the field, but 2 base hits and a sacrifice bunt that led to 2 runs in the 4th.
Oh, the Angels have to be very happy at the job that David Pauley has done so far. Dan Herron, the starter, worked only 3 2/3 innings. Pauley has come in and kind of shut the door since the 4th inning. He's allowed only 4 hits.
Carroll protecting the plate, dribbles it to Jerry White. With Dozier being called up, not only is Carroll supplanted as the shortstop, but apparently also the number 2 hitter. Toward the hole. Nice play by Ibar, 1-away.
I think the big thing tonight, Dick, 12 hits for the Twins. They came into this ball game before the last 6 ball games. They got a total of 20 hits.
Yeah.
So 12 here tonight.
The Our Family section has ticket availability for upcoming games against the Angels, Blue Jays, and Indians on this homestand. Get a ticket in the alcohol-free section. Receive a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For pricing and details on the Our Family section, please visit twinsbaseball.com. Here's Eric Komatsu. Komatsu takes a strike.
Yeah, Komatsu picked up his first major league RBI in the 4th inning. And the Twins added a couple runs to take a 5-0 lead.
The hope is Denard Span will be back in center field and back in the leadoff spot tomorrow. Down and in, 2-1.
Well, Matt Capps getting ready for the 9th inning.
Up and away, 3-1 with Dozier on deck.
Yeah, this is game number 29 for the Twins, and we talked about the Denard Span. He's played in all of them at this first game that he's missed.
Had that hard collision with the center field fence last night. A little achy today. Hopes to be back out there tomorrow. Flipped foul into the seats.
Pauley in relief has thrown 71 pitches, 42 for strikes, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Giving up 4 hits, all singles.
Chop to second. Kendrick over to Pujols. And that's out number 2. That'll bring up Dozier. Three singles for Dozier so far in the big leagues, including a couple of them tonight.
I mentioned only 20 hits for the Twins prior to this ball game, the last 6 games. So this is nice to see right here. A lot of Twins with a couple hits in this ball game.
Down low, ball 1. Oh, Dozier today, what impressed me the most about his game last night, he seemed like a 10-year veteran out there. I mean, it was just 1 game, but he didn't seem out of place. He didn't seem jumpy or nervous. Took pitches, played the ground balls well. I mean, was able to read the hops and played them all well and got it out in every opportunity. And the same has been true again here tonight.
Well, I like his attitude when he did the tweeting with Robbie Inspikowski, being Tuesday tweet night here with Fox is
Twitter Tuesday.
Twitter Tuesday. That he said, hey, you know what? You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You just enjoy it. And so far, the first 2 days at the major league level have been very, very good for Brian Dozier.
taking all the way 3-1. And he checked with home plate umpire Corey Blazer before spinning his bat out of his hand, and he'll take first with a walk. Not taking anything for granted. He just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, second walk for Paulie. The other one, the intentional walk to Joe Mauer in the 6th inning.
Yeah, I think Mike Scioscia quite happy that David Paulie actually got more outs than Dan Herron tonight. And a pitching change with the very first inning, and have a 5-0 lead. You can log on to FoxSportsNorth.com for Brian Hall's continuing coverage of the Viking Stadium situation. Things are coming to a head one way or the other. We'll pay close attention here in the next
yeah, go days. Vikings. Go Vikings. I hope they get a stadium.
Takahashi comes into the ball game here, pitching to Joe Mauer with a runner at first and 2 down.
Yeah, Takahashi in last night's ball game worked the 7th inning, a 1-2-3 7th inning. Needed only 9 pitches, 7 for strikes to retire the 3 batters he faced, making his 10th relief appearance. Takahashi from Japan, 37 years old, in his 2nd season with the Angels.
Getting their 3 runs in the first and a pair of 2-out hits. Mauer trying to extend the inning by getting a 2-out hit here. He's got a couple of pop fly hits to left field, a double in the 3rd, and another pop fly single to left in the 4th. Ball 1. Misses again.
Yeah, Takahashi with a fastball. He'll throw a screwball, turn that fastball over like a changeup. It's in a slider and a curveball.
Two 2-0 to Mauer. Snapped bat. Oh my! And I think most of the bat hit catcher Jeff Mathis. And he appears to be okay. I'm sorry, Bobby Wilson.
Yep.
And that was a painful way to end the inning. That's the story. The top line there significant. Scott Diamond in his 2012 debut, 7 shutout innings.
Oh, great job by Jarrett Burton in the 8th inning. Matt Capps, not a save situation, but kind of a save situation. You'd like to get the shutout right here. Twins have not had a shutout yet this year, and the Angels have been shut out already 6 times on the season.
Most of the time when Irvin Santana pitches. On May 8th, when you've got just 7 wins on the year, this is a save situation. He's trying to pin it down.
Capps making his 11th appearance.
1-1.
And tomorrow will be Irvin Santana against Carl Pavano.
On one hop to Carroll and an easy first out. Capps has not been given as many save opportunities as the Twins expected or Capps wants, but again, he told me the other day he had that quick save against the Mariners, and he threw a couple of really nasty splitters. And the tune-up inning that he had a couple days before, important for him because he's still, he's trying to master that split finger pitch. There's a fastball that hits the corner, and it's in his arsenal. It's the closest thing he has to a field pitch, so he does need regular work.
Well, that fastball at 91, 92 miles an hour, he has that slider and then that changeup that, Eddie Guardado helped him in spring training with. It's open up his fingers a little bit and throw it just like a fastball, and they keep it down, then you get a little movement down.
When we were in California, Rick Aguilera came by for a visit during one of the innings, and I asked him how long it took him, because he said Ron Darling helped him with his split finger pitch, and he said, he just split his fingers with a softball in his car over the winter, and when it came to springtime, he was able to throw it effectively. Pujols again pulls the ball weakly on the left side. 4 ground ball outs. He hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield yet. 2 down.
Well, why? Because the ball was down in the strike zone. Diamond did a great job of keeping that ball down. Pujols hit 3 ground ball outs for him, and right there, Matt Capps getting a ground ball out.
Here's Torrey Hunter.
You said that, saves have not come frequently because the Twins have only 7 wins, but you start winning ball games, Matt Capps, he'll get a lot of saves.
Two 2-0 to Hunter. Torrey struck out twice and bounced to short. And now 3-0. Bart Trumbo is in the on-deck circle for the Angels.
See if Matt Capps can come all the way back. Get strike 1 right here.
At the knees.
Now strike 2. Or a fly ball out.
Three and 2. Oh, why not? Let's throw it to Torrey here, the splitter, and strike him out.
No, he's not. I don't think he's going to throw the splitter. He doesn't want to walk Torrey right here. He wants to just throw a fastball out over the plate, hopefully get the out.
All right.
Got a 5-0 lead. You're going for the shutout. Don't try to trick him. Make him swing the bat. No free passes. It's good to see the crowd here at Target Field on their feet, looking for a victory.
94-mile-per-hour fastball spun back to the screen. 2 to Hunter. Got him. A sinking fastball. Camps completes the shutout. And a brilliant 7-inning performance for Scott Diamond in his 2012 debut.
Well, our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, no other than Scott Diamond. 7 shutout innings, his second major league win. Made his eighth major league start here tonight, and it was beautiful. What a job by Scott Diamond. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 102 pitches, only 4 hits allowed in 7 shutout innings.
And so with Diamond's pitching performance, Anthony LaPanta of the Twins tomorrow will go at Irvin Santana with a chance to win this series.
And we'll preview that game. We'll also take a look at how Scott Diamond handcuffed the Angels here tonight. We'll hear from Ron Gardenhire. Bert Blyleven will show you how to throw a Hall of Fame curveball. All next on Twins Live.